The radius is one of the long bones of the antebrachium or forearm. The antebrachium consists of the radius and the ulna, which run parallel to each other. The radius articulates with the humerus at the proximal end and the carpal bones at the distal end. When standing in anatomical position with palms facing anteriorly and thumbs directed away from the body, the radius is located on the lateral aspect of the forearm. The head of the radius is located at the proximal end and is tubular in shape. The superior surface of the head is concave. This concave surface of the radius's head articulates with the capitulum of the humerus to form the humeroradial joint. The head of the radius allows for movements such as flexion and pivoting of the forearm at the elbow. On the medial aspect of the head, the radius articulates with the radial notch of the ulna to form the proximal radio-ulnar joint. The radius narrows just distal to the head to form the neck before it widens again to form the radial tuberosity. The radial tuberosity is a bony projection located on the body of the radius distal to the neck. The radial tuberosity serves as a site for muscle attachment and is the point of insertion for the biceps brachii muscle. The body of the radius continues distally in a straight line until it widens significantly at its distal end. At the distal end of the radius, there are 3 smooth concave facets. These facets articulate with the scaphoid, the lunate, and the triquetrum bones of the carpus to form the radiocarpal joint. The styloid process and the ulnar notch are also located on the distal end of the radius. The styloid process is a small pointed projection that is located on the lateral aspect of the distal end of the radius. The styloid process serves as a point of attachment for the radial collateral ligament of the carpus. The radial collateral ligament functions to limit deviation of the ulna at the wrist. The ulnar notch is an indentation on the medial aspect of the distal end of the radius where the ulna articulates. At the ulnar notch, the radius and ulna form the distal radio-ulnar joint. At the distal radio-ulnar joint, the radius is able to change positions and rotate around the ulna, which allows for supination and pronation of the carpus in hand. When the forearm is rotated and the palm faces posteriorly, the distal end of the radius crosses over the ulna to form an X. The radius is the primary forearm bone that contributes to the wrist joint, whereas the ulna is the primary forearm bone that contributes to the elbow joint. The radius and ulna are connected along the body of each bone by a flat, broad ligament called the intraosseous membrane. The radius is structurally classified as a long bone, and like other long bones, it consists of a diaphysis, or shaft, and an epiphysis at each end. At birth, the radius consists of only a diaphysis with hyaline cartilage caps at either end. At around 2 years of age, the distal end of the radius begins to form an epiphysis as well as an epiphyseal plate or growth plate. The epiphyseal plate separates the diaphysis from the newly formed epiphysis. At around 5 years of age, the cartilage at the proximal end of the radius forms another epiphysis and epiphyseal plate. The radius is not finished growing lengthwise until the end of puberty. At this point, the epiphyseal plates are no longer needed and they close to form epiphyseal lines. The radius is a very significant bone of the forearm, which forms a total of 4 different joints in the body. The radius is the primary forearm bone that contributes to the wrist joint and is responsible for the body's ability to rotate the hand. The radius, along with the ulna, form 2 of the 3 joints in the elbow. The radius also serves as an attachment point for numerous muscles and ligaments which allow for movement of the upper arm, the forearm, and the hand. This video was prepared as part of the course requirements of Human Anatomy at